What is up, members of my collector corps? It is I, Super Mario Zilla, or you could call me Vinny, and today we will be taking a look at the S.H.Figuarts Red King. Red King was revealed at the Tamashii Nations event of 2023. We got a glimpse at the prototype, and the figure would hit commercialization and would be slated for release this year. Fans were excited when Red King was revealed. He looked great alongside Ultraman. He looked great as a whole. Like, seriously, this figure looks fantastic. And when he released, I fell in love with this just as much as the Figuarts Ella King, saying it's one of the best Ultra Kaiju figures we gotten so far. Wow, pretty cool, right? The figure clocks in at an MSRP of $100, and he comes with accessories as well. What more can be said? Red King really does a lot right already. Red King seems to check all the boxes of what make a good kaiju figure. A good figure a typical Monster Arts wishes it could be. Yes, I stand by that. Red King is a perfect representation of what the SH Monster Arts line should be. That being said, is Red King really as good as some people have been saying? Let's not waste any more time and see if this figure is worthy of a spot on your Ultraman shelf. As I said before, Red King looks amazing. Where do I begin? This figure looks fantastic. Red King is up to the brim with detail and paintwork. The paint job is some of the best I've ever seen. It looks so good here. The shading with the blue in all the ridges looks awesome. It highlights all of them, and it looks great here. Red King sports black eyes, which looks intimidating, and his base color is this light olive green, and it looks nice. The colors work so well with each other, and it looks very vibrant. The ridges and the figure itself pops so much with the colors and the way the paint was applied here. It looks incredible. I haven't even gone over the sculpted details yet. The detail is phenomenal. The amount of detail is immaculate, and it looks so good. He has a very rough texture, and it looks good. A very rocky feel this guy has, and I love it. He feels nice to hold in the hand. The paint job is really clean. It is awesome how clean and not sloppy the paint job is on this figure. Everything is how it should be. Red King's paint complements the sculpt so well here. Every detail pops the moment you look at him from either afar or up close. Everything looks stellar. It's amazing how they can do so well on the Figuarts kaiju figures, but not the Monster Arts kaiju figures. Seriously, everyone in the Monster Arts team should take notes. Overall, Red King is an incredible looking piece with no issues really at all. It truly is one of the greats. I could go on and on about how great this figure looks, but we gotta get going. Red King again looks amazing. Despite the design, Red King's articulation turned out pretty good here. So, let us see what he's got. The head is actually a little bit odd. So, this part is on a ball joint. Yeah, the top mouth. The top of the head is how you open the mouth. The jaw is barely on a hinge. Barely. So this is how you open the mouth, and you have to be careful with how you close it. Otherwise, it's going to look like he has an underbite. So you need to push the mouth forward in order to make it look like the underbite is gone. And because it's on a ball joint, you can get some cursed stuff like this. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit weird. It's a little bit odd because this is one of the more effective ways to get Red King to look up. You need to move the whole neck in order to get him to look up. But either way, the neck is on a couple ball joints, and he could look up just about this high up without moving the mouth, and he could look about this far down. You can look side to side, and of course lean side to side. You have to be careful with the sculpt because it will tend to rub up against each other. However, the articulation has hidden some sculpt to make Kid look like he's not having any gaps. That is pretty good. And it's like that everywhere. Like, here's the torso articulation. They hidden two ridges underneath the back right here. So that way there's no gapping. That's awesome. So he can crunch forward just about this far. And backward, not very far at all, but of course he can twist and lean. Twisting and leaning is almost non-existent though. There's a ball joint at the bottom waist, so in total he can crunch forward just about this far forward. And can twist around more if using both joints. Arms are on ball joints. Can rotate. These shoulders are loose, they are sleeves. Bit of butterfly joint movement. Can rotate all around. Bicep swivel is in the elbow. But the elbow is on the ball joint as well, and he can move it forward just a tiny bit more. Actually, no, not a tiny bit more. That's just about 90 degrees. So, yeah, his elbow movement is not all the way top. Hands are on ball joints. Decent movement. Legs are on ball joints, and they actually feature the pull-down style Figuarts hinge from back in the day. So, yeah. He can kick forward just about this far forward. Okay, there we go. He can kick forward just about this far forward. And backward, not very far at all. And can actually do the... Yes, he can. He can actually do the splits. That's surprising. Knees can bend just about 90 degrees, so that's pretty good. For Red King, anyway. And feet are on ball joints. So ankle rocker is pretty good here. Tail. The tail is a little bit odd. It's a little bit stiffer than most other figures, and the ball joints will tend to pop up if you keep forcing them to go in one direction. And look at that. This one is not popping back on. Okay, there we go. Oh. Okay, there we go. So be careful when moving the tail. So sorry, joints do not pop out. But other than that, it can go in pretty good shapes. It's just not as flexible as other figures, although it still is pretty flexible. And this piece keeps popping off. I think I'm gonna have to heat it up. Still is pretty good tail articulation regardless. At least it's not a bendy wire, thank God. So Red King can pose pretty well for an Ultra Figuarts. So yeah, I am impressed with his articulation. I think he poses really well. Sure, there may be some limitations in the head and neck area, but Red King is not moving his head and neck in all sorts of crazy directions, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, Red King is a winner with the articulation, so I'm happy about that. Now, because he doesn't have that much accessories, I'm going to go over them here. He has two fist hands. Pretty much the same paint job as the open hands. Blue on the bottom, this greenish color on the top. And they pop off relatively easily. And just like that, Red King can use fists. Another accessory he comes with is this rock, which is just a generic rock, nothing special about it, although it does look pretty neat. It's cool that Red King comes with this, so it looks like that he can throw it. Not bad at all. This hand right here I thought was supposed to be glued on, which maybe it's supposed to be, I'm not sure, but it can actually come off. I'm not sure if that's like that on all the Red King figures, so try not to force it off, otherwise you might break it, in case it's not actually glued on. But if it is, you know, obviously, don't try to force it. But either way, because mine can come off, I can actually use it as a regular rocket for set pieces. So I like that. But either way, it makes it easier to interchange. It is a right hand, so it goes in his right side. Pose Red King accordingly. Close both hands together and... Nope, the hand popped off. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to get both the hands to close together on the rock. But either way, it will happen. You just have to give it time. If the hand does not pop off. Alright, you pretty much get the idea. But yeah, it can look like Red King is ready to throw the rock. Not bad. So Red King's accessories, while it's not a lot, does still pack quite a punch. I do like the accessories. And the rock makes for a nice set piece to use separately. So yeah, I'm happy with what we got. Here's a size comparison with other figures you may or may not own. Red King looks great next to other kaiju figures and the other Ultramen, so if you need Red King on a display, you should have no problem at all. Red King rocks. I don't care what anyone says, this is one of the best Ultra Figuarts bar none. It does everything so well. Sculpt, paint, articulation, and accessories, it's all fantastic. Just like Ella King, I have a blast messing around with this figure. It truly is one of the greats. I highly recommend picking this figure up if you're an Ultraman fan. This is a must-have in the collection. He's still available for MSRP in some places, so get him now before it's too late. You won't regret it, he is 100% worth his price. Not a lot of high-end figures today can say that. Red King is worth it in every regard. I'll give this figure a perfect 10 out of 10. It really doesn't have a lot of issues, and whatever issues he has are just nitpicks. This sets a standard for pretty much all future Ultra Kaiju. It's that good. And if future figures don't live up to the standard, then you know Red King is going to be the shining example. Get this figure sooner rather than later.